well as how we die, we need to know the full measure of our diseases and disabilities, what doesn't kill us as well as what does. Ignorance is expensive. Between 1990 and 2010, international development assistance for health, medical aid money, more than quintupled from $5.8 billion to $29.4 billion a year. And that's minuscule compared with what countries and individuals spend on themselves. At last count, annual total health spending worldwide was $7 trillion, 10% of the global economy and growing. But is that money being spent on the health threats that really cause the most suffering, or only on what seem to be our worst problems? Are billions of lives at risk and trillions of dollars being wasted because of priorities based on faulty information? Everyone wants the world to move in a healthier direction, but what we need is a map. And if no accurate, sufficiently extensive map exists, someone needs to create one. This book is the story of a huge independent effort, years in preparation, to do nothing less than chart everything that threatens the health of everyone on Earth and make that information publicly available to doctors, health officials, political leaders, and private citizens everywhere. The quest has engrossed the time and talent of thousands of people around the world, from computer programmers to village interviewers. Chris Murray, the originator and now leader of the project, has been called a genius and a madman. A Harvard-trained physician who no longer practices medicine, but is trying to treat the world's 7 billion people. An Oxford-educated economist who doesn't follow the stock market, but is believed by some to hold the key to one of the largest segments of the international economy. You might also say he is a very smart guy who has found a way to channel an obsession with detail, a prodigious appetite for hard work, and an unusual kind of global compassion into the monumental task of surveying, comparing, and combating all the illness and injury, fatal and disabling, that burdens each and every human being. That is the study's name, in fact, the global burden of disease. Global burden is a concept, a quantity, and an ongoing project, a comprehensive, comparable measure of almost everything wrong with everyone everywhere. Its numbers can be broken down by person, place, ailment, and consequence, what kills us, what makes us sick, and what shortens our pain-free years of life. It can identify the probable top killers of newborn children in Angola or of middle-aged men in the United States, the worst causes of pain and suffering for teenagers in Egypt or for elderly French women, and the global toll of everything from asthma to suicide to chronic neck pain. It is not a static document, but an evolving report in ever greater detail that has already released a trove of more than 650 million results. These may provide more powerful ammunition in the fight against unnecessary suffering and needless death than any other invention in the history of public health. The basic principles of a medical practitioner apply to the 7 billion as well as to the individual patient. First, diagnose, then prescribe. What are the world's health problems? Who do they hurt? How much? Where? Why? Forget what you think you know. With a truly all-encompassing view of life and death, we can see for the first time if Europe is healthier than America, or Iowa than Ohio, or you than your neighbor. And then in what ways? And how people are responding with specific details everyone else around the world can try to emulate. The question then becomes not what stops us from living better, but how far and how fast are we willing to improve. I first met Chris Murray in January 2012. The project he described was one of the largest scientific exercises ever attempted. It was as complex and controversial as the first moon landing or the Human Genome Project. It was extremely expensive, insanely ambitious, and all